Hey guys, welcome back. This video, we're going to finally take a look at an Iwata versus a Procon Boy airbrush. Are they the same airbrush, and which one should you get? Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so excited to do this one because it's something I kind of want to put to bed for a while now and kind of do a comparison. Now, these aren't cheap airbrushes. We'll talk about it all later. But basically compare the Iwata High Performance, which is HP-C Plus 0.3 needle, to the Procon Boy Platinum 0.3 needle. Battle of Japan, both Japanese airbrushes. Now, off the bat, I will say that this video is not endorsed at all, other than myself. No paid sponsorship, nothing like that, which is a rarity on YouTube. Be very careful with these airbrush reviews. Certain Chinese brands send them out all over people on YouTube. There might be instances where you have to, the influencer has to sign contracts, show the video to the person before they release it, get paid for their feedback. So you can't really trust these videos. So if it's not clear, these videos you're watching, what the relationship is between the influencer and the company, make sure you comment and ask, hey, did you sign a contract? Did they give it to you for free? You paid for it yourself? All that kind of questions, because I think that really kind of goes into these reviews. Now, what I will say off the bat is, we're comparing Mr. Hobby and Iwata, and for me, Japanese brands, both made in Japan, very good quality airbrushes. If you're going to buy a Chinese airbrush, buy a Fenga 180K, 25, 30 bucks, and more than enough. There's no need to spend 60, 80, 100, $120 on a Chinese airbrush when you can get these ones. So that's my advice. Also, Harder and Steenbeck, get that elephant out of the room. Mentioned it before. I've had the Infinity, which was like a $260, $280 airbrush. For me, it was terrible for what I paint. I paint slightly thicker paint mixtures. It kept blocking. It just didn't work for me at all. So I sold it and got one of these Procon Boys back in 2017. So if you're going back to the Harder and Steenbeck, if you're painting with inks or very lacquers, very thin paints, I think you'd be fine. But any thicker paints, you might have struggles. But again, that's my own personal opinion. Also, with airbrushes, it's like buying a car. Everybody has their own favorite brands and stuff, and it's all subjective, right? So I'm basically going to take this video to open each of these up, take a look inside, and compare the both, spray a little bit here, and then kind of summarize and kind of give my final thoughts. So yeah, let's switch down to the bench and let's dig in and look at these airbrushes. Which one shall we start with? Let's start with Iwata. And here she is, the High Performance Plus, the HP-C Plus. Now, let me kind of talk about three different airbrushes from Iwata, more the popular ones. And I'm going to look at my notebook here to make sure I get the right facts. So you've got the Revolution, you've got the Eclipse, which is HP-CS, and you've got the High Performance Plus HP-C. They're the three main kind of ones. Obviously, there's custom Micron, there's a bunch of other ones, but let's focus on these three. So the first one, the Revolution, is a 0.5 needle, and on Amazon, time of filming this, is $92. The Eclipse, the HP-CS, I looked around online, and the best price I found, the best deal, was actually Hobby Lobby for $150. And it's a good deal because with that you get like an inline moisture trap and a bunch of extra stuff included. So 150 bucks. This one, oh, that was a 0.35 needle. This one, the HP-C Plus, is a 0.3 needle, and it retails on Amazon right now at $198. Now, I got a deal on this one, a big deal. I took the risk, think it was a scam on Facebook Marketplace, and I got this brand new for $104 shipped. So check out Facebook Marketplace, eBay, all those kind of places, although eBay, you won't really get many deals anymore. And I happened to find this, searching Iwata airbrushes. I found this one out in Texas somewhere, and it's like some kind of surplus, kind of overstock company. It seemed legit, but I paid with PayPal knowing I had purchase protection. I ordered it, again, for $104, saying it was new, and expecting a scam. And a few days passed, nothing happened. So I reached out to them for a tracking number. The response wasn't great. A couple of days later, I did get a tracking number, and a week later, it did actually arrive. So after 2 weeks, it arrived, although they just stuck a shipping label on the front of this box. They didn't put any packaging on it. Fortunately, it arrived okay, and I opened it, and it is in fact all sealed. It was new, and there we go. So I got lucky. So it can be had for a good price, as I did. So $104, normally $198 for this one. Now, the comparison between, well, let me kind of step back a little bit. So Revolution, the cheapest one, I would say 0.5 needle. That would be great for kind of your clear coats, Priming, car bodies, larger areas, that kind of stuff, the 0.5 needle, no problem at all. If you kind of want to get any kind of, like I do, 48 or 72nd scale aircraft and get into camo patterns and stuff, it's a little too big. You want to get down to maybe like a 0.3 needle, around there, 0.3, 0.35. Not a big fan of 0.2 needles. I've used them before. There's just not that much wiggle room. So the ideal scenario in airbrushes for modeling, what I do, would be have 4 airbrushes. One for clear coats, one for metallics, one for acrylics, and one for lacquers. And maybe even a 5th, one for priming. If you have that, then you can kind of tweak what you need, different needle sizes and stuff. But if you're like most people, you have 1 or 2 airbrushes, it does most things. A 0.3 for me is the sweet spot, because you can spray hose down, like your clear coats and your priming coats, thicker paints, no problem at all. Whereas with 0.2, you have to be a little bit more careful with your paint mixtures. And I find a 0.3 a really good versatile airbrush. There is also the Iwata Neo. It's Neo for Iwata or Iwata for Neo, however it's worded. It's actually a Sparmax airbrush. The Neo is a cheaper one. It's not actually a real Iwata airbrush. So the Revolution, as I mentioned, is great, 0.5 needle. The Eclipse, the HP-CS, for $150, the 0.35 needle. Again, that's a good all-round airbrush for anything. It's a little bit more geared maybe towards a beginner. And compared to this guy here, it's basically a different nozzle setup. So as I look at my notes here, the difference between the CS and the C Plus is nozzle design. The Plus has a screw-in steel nozzle. Eclipse HP-CS has a nozzle that's more geared, more forgiving for beginners, whereas this has a steel one and is more designed for more professional, more intermediate and high-level kind of quality. So there we go. That's the difference. So needle size 0.35 to 0.3, not really any difference. I think it's pretty much the same. Very fraction of a millimeter. So here's the airbrush. Let's open it up. And what I should mention too is about Iwata is the service compared to the Procon Boy. I'm in the US. They have a US office. When you buy these airbrushes, I think come with a 5-year warranty. Any of the ones I just mentioned. Any kind of issues, you have a phone number. You can call up a 1-800 number. You can talk to a friendly person. They'll talk you through any issues. If it's damages or issues, manufacturing defects that under that warranty, you can get it replaced. Super easy. Whereas the Procon Boy is both Japanese made, but they don't really have any US support. So you're going back to the person you bought it from. In this case, there's no phone number being called. There's no customer service. It's all on the retailer you bought it from. So in terms of that aspect, this Iwata does have a better deal. Okay, open up the box. There's a couple of tabs I cut. So I obviously checked already, make sure the airbrush was there. And we have some of the factory sprayed it, so you can see it works. Some instructions, quick start guide. We have a sticker, and we have the airbrush. We have a little wrench here for the nozzle, and some Iwata lube. And taking the airbrush out, I think that's it. It's there's no MAC valve, which is actually good for me. I'm not a big fan. I always change the air pressure on the compressor, not the airbrush. Has a quick stop here, so you can adjust how far the trigger goes back, so you're not going to overspray just by turning this. You can actually access this, so you can pull the needle back. Color cup fixed on with the lid, and it feels very nice in the hand. And ooh, that feels very good, the trigger. I was thinking of spraying a little bit, but just look at the nozzle. Same as the Procon Boy, a very small little nozzle. There's a removal tool too. If I can see if I have it out ready. This is actually a really good set. This is obviously from Mr. Hobby, but this removal tool is really good for the nozzle for the Mr. Hobby airbrushes, because you're not going to snap or break it. It just tightens it to the perfect size and prevents any damage. So that's a good tip. I'm sure Iwata has a similar one, but there's a tip, steel tip, looking good. I'm going to put this on so I don't break it. Okay, just looking at the needle real quick. Sorry, I'm just touching the quality here. Yeah, it seems pretty good. Put this back together. Now time to talk about Mr. Hobby, the Procon Boy Platinum 0.3 needle. Now, I've had these airbrushes since 2017. I've done a lot of digging investigation the past few days and weeks to kind of dig into this, compare, exactly what the deal is between Iwata and Mr. Hobby. What I found out was they're both made in the same factory. Iwata doesn't have their own factory. They actually outsource it to a company called, excuse my Japanese pronunciation, but something along the lines of Fuso Saikai, or also known as the Rich Pen Factory in the Tokyo area. And they manufacture both of these airbrushes. Now, each company has their own specs, their own quality, all that kind of stuff they dictate to the factory, and the factory makes those specifications. So read into that what you want. So same factory. You can even tell. I can even tell by the text on the side here, the way it's printed is exactly the same as the Iwata airbrush. Parts are interchangeable. I found again. So back in 2017, these airbrushes, very popular in Japan, but in the US or the Western world, in Europe, they weren't really well known. So I took a punt on this one. So I was one of the first people on YouTube and one of the first people on the forums and stuff to pick one of these and use it. And other people kind of followed along afterwards. So I did some digging, and what I found was the parts are. I was told by the distributor that the parts are interchangeable. In that, the person I spoke to said they received both, Iwata and Procon Boy airbrushes from customers, and for repair or service, and they've used either parts in each one. So maybe the barrel, for example, for an Iwata, they could switch it out for a Procon Boy and vice versa. So some of the parts are interchangeable, and they've done that. So that's what I was told. Again, back in 2017, did some digging, went back and found the emails. So same factory, exactly the same airbrush, maybe not, might be slight different tolerances and specs, but they do look very similar. Now, before we get into this one, let's again talk about a lineup. So you have the regular one, the 0.3, you have the Platinum, and you have this one, which I have. It's the Custom Micron, Mr. Custom 0.18. Beautiful airbrush. Price-wise, this is around about $100. Usually these two are right around about $100. For some reason, I often find a Platinum cheaper than the regular version. Go figure. I actually just picked this one up for $77. Now I bought a new one because I have existing ones. I've used for a few years, but to get this comparison with the Iwata, I wanted like for like, because this is tolerance is a little bit older on this one. It's been well used, so I wanted to get fresh out of the box for this video. So yeah, I have invested quite a lot of money in this video. So again, no endorsements. I have put links below as well to where you can find these and places. Again, not endorsed, but if you want to find more information out or purchase one, I put the Amazon links. I have no affiliation or affiliate account, and also the Spray Gunner and the Hobby Lobby as well, so you can find all these airbrushes. The difference really between the regular and Platinum is this has the MAC valve, and that's really the only real difference. There might be a few other changes, make slightly better quality components. Personally, I just would, if I was to do it again, I would just buy the regular one. But this being cheaper, it makes the right price difference between these two. If you find this one cheaper, obviously get the Platinum. But if you find Platinum more expensive than the regular version, just get the regular one. Again, I'm not a big fan of the MAC valve on the airbrush. So that's that one. This one is an absolutely beautiful airbrush. I've only used it, I've had it for several years, used it like 2 or 3 times. Mainly used it because it has a 0.18 needle for very fine work, and I used it when I built a semi-second scale Challenger tank to get the camo. I used this one and it painted absolutely beautifully. To be honest with you, I'm kind of frightened to use this everyday use. I'm sure it'll be fine, but I just use these as a workhorse and very rarely use this guy. But you can tell by looking at it, the quality, it is very good. It just handles very well. This is a PS770. It's a part number. This goes around about $200. Ish, between 2 to 250, I think the price. I didn't quite actually look it up, but this is the custom 0.18 needle. Again, fine work and a beautiful airbrush. All right, let's open up the Platinum. So you get the instructions and stuff in here. Again, all Japanese. The box, and you get a little case with a glass cover. And the difference with this one is you get a few extra things compared to the Iwata. You also got the airbrush itself. You have a this is for an adapter, so you can attach it and add like those gas cans. So if you don't have a compressor, you can like spray those canned air things. I believe you got a wrench just like the other one, and this hose I believe is joins from this to this attachment again for the compressed air or gas, whatever it is. So you can just unscrew, remove this, and it will screw. Has a usual attachment. Both the same, interchangeable attachments for the hose. This one, okay, feels good. It doesn't have the hole in the back compared to the Iwata. Touch the trigger. Sorry, for the needle. Has a plastic cover, which is nice. Has a MAC valve underneath. Again, I'm not a big fan of those. I mentioned that several times now. Very nice color cup. Looks about the same size. And take this off here. You can see the needle on that one too. Same trigger stop. Well, not same, but it does have a trigger stop. Same thing again, so we can dial it in. And yeah, this one trigger definitely moves a little bit freer. It's more bouncy, easy to push. Try this one again. So this is more, yeah, this is triggers a little bit firmer. You got to push it a little bit harder. These I've been using for years, but this definitely is definitely easier, and it has more travel as well. So again, talking about earlier, like that air, this one you can dial, you can definitely push it back to more different levels for different air levels. Looking at the side of the airbrush, side to side, you can see the comparisons here. As I mentioned, that text and the way it's printed is identical on both. The same font, everything's the same. Both have Japan printed on side. This obviously has Iwata. This has Craos, as I mentioned, the holding company for Mr. Hobby, and you can see from there. So very similar airbrushes. The shape here is slightly different underneath where your finger goes, but nonetheless very similar. Weight-wise, I do like the feel of Mr. Hobby's a little bit heavier. It feels very good in the hand. That feels great too. It's apples to oranges, right? It's hard. Yeah, both great airbrushes. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and spray some stuff. I've done previous videos. There's no point in you watching me in the air booth spraying. I mean, I'm just going to spray some Plasticard, come back and kind of show you the difference between the two. Okay, interesting. Just finished spraying, and I kind of want to get my thoughts out right away before I forget. So, used XF25 Tamiya, that like alcohol black acrylic kind of hybrid paint. This is mixed with the X28 thinner, and yeah, use the same paint for both. So, use the Iwata first, which is this, and then this is a Procon Boy. So first, what I did was, as you see, I've added quick disconnects. I just use these cheap ones off Amazon. These work pretty good. Get a bag of them. Quick disconnects, so I can quickly change between each airbrush to get the feel of each one. So I will say that they both obviously spray very well. The Iwata does, it's so close, but the trigger does feel a little bit nicer than the Procon Boy. But it's not that this one's bad. This is good. This one just feels a slight bit better. On the trigger. Also, I like when you first pull trigger, when the paint comes out, it just feels like it flows a little bit nicer from this one compared to the Procon Boy. But again, I'm really splitting. We're like in the top echelon here. We're not talking a major difference. Just really being super hypercritical and trying to analyze these two airbrushes. This one does start seem to flow better. Just some random stuff, shading in, some lines again. Just felt like my lines are a little bit tighter with this one compared to the Procon Boy, but again, we're splitting hairs here. There's not much at all. One thing to note is, so afterwards I pulled out my Procon Boy, which is about 3 or 4 years old, and I can nowhere get anywhere near the fineness of these ones. So obviously, getting older, you can see as your airbrush gets older, it doesn't quite spray as nice, as when it's new. You need to change the nozzle and the needle and all the seals, that kind of stuff, maintain it. So on the cards here, and then what I did then was I pulled out my 32nd scale, knocking stuff over, Tomcat, which I've been working on. Again, just started spraying random little lines, the gray, and just kept every couple of seconds just switching out between the two airbrushes and trying each one. And again, they both sprayed really well, but if I had to kind of, if you put a gun to my head and had to name one, I would say the Iwata does feel slightly nicer. But again, we're talking, both really great airbrushes. Now, here's the thing here, and this is where I come to. They're both very similar. This one has a slight edge maybe in terms of what I like, the feel, the trigger and everything. However, $77, $198. So there we go. So that's the major thing here. You're getting 2 of these for 1 of these with money left over, and you're getting very little difference in terms of spraying. I mean, this is just my quick down and dirty spray pattern, but the Procon Boy, I mean, it sprays almost as good as that Iwata high performance. So yeah, there we go. Let me switch the camera and let's finish this thing up. Okay, so we got the Toyota Corolla versus a Honda Civic, both Japanese, reliable, good products. 5-year warranty, good customer service. This one you're kind of on your own, but $77, $198. There we go. So I'll be definitely spraying this one as my primary airbrush next couple of months, just really kind of get some use out of it and see how I feel, more use. And check out my bench updates. I'll be, giving you updates of how I'm feeling with this airbrush and if my opinions change. Again, this one does feel slightly nicer. Does it feel 2.5 times the cost nicer? No, they're both great airbrushes, just a very tiny little edge to this one. So again, based upon price, the Procon Boy 0.3 needle is my favorite airbrush. And yeah, there we go. So links are below. Again, I'm not endorsed by anybody. Just if you want to check out the specs and look at more detail, I put links where I found them on Amazon and other places as well. And yeah, there we go. So hopefully you found this video interesting. If you have done so, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps my channel out. And I'll catch you next time.